On this week's Nonsensible podcast,
You must hear this all the time. You look like Jackie Chan.
That Bruce Lee had a evil twin brother. Did you guys know that?
No.
His name was Broccoli. Here's some breadsticks. I'm like, excuse me? How many of these can I have? Oh, as many as you want. As many as I want? With soup. Soup is free?
I didn't know that.
You didn't? Oh my God.
This is Nonsensible.
Welcome back to another episode of Nonsensible. This is
Dave.
Sam?
and Saul.
And Mike.
Welcome back. We're so glad to have you back.
Hey, thank you guys so much. Great to see you guys again.
Why are you wearing the same shirt?
You know what? Since I need most of my luggage space for food, don't have a lot of clothing.
Oh, that's the way. And when your arms look that good in a shirt, why not just wear it every damn day?
Yeah, just try to pack the least amount of clothing possible, just to show off more of the guns. Yeah, that's my whole plan.
First question.
Yes,
I got a question already. Snacks. I want to know what snacks you like to nibble on.
Okay, so first thing is I don't really do too much snacks in general on a daily basis because I feel like it's empty calories. I want my calories to be substantial.
Preach.
Right? Like you want your food when it's entering your system, you want it to do good things as much as possible.
So no flaming hot Cheetos.
No, so okay, whoa. You guys like I feel like South Koreans, you guys are obsessed. I'm saying you guys too because you basically you guys
Yeah, we've been here forever.
Yeah, you're part of it. You guys are obsessed with hot Cheetos.
I love hot Cheetos.
Every single time I come here, people are like, "Can you bring me hot Cheetos?" I feel like I could start a business smuggling that sucker.
Hot Cheetos and Old Spice.
Well, you know what? We talked about garlic bread in the previous episode and how it's sweet out here.
Yes.
The Cheetos that are made here, I find them to be sweet.
Yeah.
Really?
It's not.
They're not
it's
like
not
American
you
Cheetos.
No. So what happens is there are places you can find hot Cheetos here in Korea.
They're just expensive.
Black market.
Yeah.
It's
go down
so
some
there's
alley.
there's a
Some guy
quote
in a
unquote
trench
black
coat.
market. So how it works is I don't know if I should be, telling trade
Go ahead.
secrets.
Well, it's not your trade secret,
Yeah,
so don't
well,
worry.
There are places, and I found out what they do is they get stuff from the military bases
base, yeah.
here,
Uh-huh.
and they take them out and they sell it in these little markets, and it's not legal, but I hear that's what they do.
It's not so much a black market, more of a grey market.
Yeah.
Like it's not completely legal. It's not completely illegal. It's just treading a fine line.
Yeah.
You remember, you can't get 40s here. How you don't care about 40s,
No,
but yeah.
the beer cans.
So whenever I went on, the first time I ever went on base, I was walking around just drinking a 40. And some man was like, this is America now, buddy. You can't just be walking around with beer.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can't. On the base, they
okay.
treat it
In
like
Korea, it's legal. You can just
You can
drink,
just walk.
You can,
I saw that the other day.
yeah, you can just drink
I was
you
outside.
can drink
Yeah.
outside a convenience store.
Yeah, I saw this drunk white dude, and he's just like stumbling around at like 6 a.m.
With a bottle of soju, right?
with a big bottle of something. I don't know what it
A
was. He was
bottle of
holding.
like grapefruit
just
soju.
stumbling around. And I'm just like, you don't see that everywhere.
Were you in Itaewon?
I was in Hyundai.
Hyundai,
Well,
yeah.
Happens
One
there
or
as
the
well.
other. One or the other.
One or the other, yeah.
But the reason that they don't really need to make a law like that is because Korean people just don't want to like look like assholes, so they won't do that.
Yeah.
But a lot of like foreigners come here, and when you first experience that,
Take advantage of it.
you'll go crazy. You walk around with like green bottles. And soju.
It kind of is, honestly, I've been here for so long, it's kind of embarrassing.
Well, it's when you
Jesus.
White
Do you
people.
judge really hard if you're walking around like Itaewon and some dude's just stumbling around with a bottle?
I kind of
he's from,
judge.
like,
I'm just
America
like,
or something,
dude,
you're
you
like-
make us look bad. Stop.
but I think it's something we all when we first got here, all of us experienced
And
it.
probably did.
We all
I
did it.
Yeah,
I know,
we all
that's
did it.
I
We've
did
been
it.
here for so long now that it's like, yeah, I'm over that. And that's
Yeah.
just why that's
It's not a good
so
look.
immature.
Yeah.
It's not a good look at all.
I can relate. When I first moved to New York, like I was kind of a tourist. I'm from like the middle of nowhere, Iowa, Missouri. And I was walking around like, oh my gosh, these skyscrapers are so cool. And I'm just slowly walking and admiring. And like a year in, you're just like, you see someone doing that, you're like, get out of my way.
Yeah.
Come on. You never see a building before?
That reminds me too. The last time I went to America, I went to meet my brother at a bar in Manhattan. Like took a taxi from the airport, went and bought a drink, and then walked outside to smoke a cigarette. and the bouncer almost beat the shit out of me
Really?
for carrying the drink outside. And luckily, my brother like walked out. I was like, "It's my brother. He's Korean." And the guy was like, "What the fuck? This guy ain't Korean. What the fuck are you talking about?" And like, I really just totally forgot that you weren't allowed to drink because there's nothing
The
wrong with
liquor
drinking
laws.
outside of
Yeah.
a bar here. No one cares. Everyone goes out and brings their drink and.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I couldn't relate. So
Yeah.
this is very kind of foreign for me, but good to know.
Yeah.
In case I ever want to.
Can we go back to Iowa? What was it like growing up in Iowa?
Well, it's not just I grew up in basically every Midwestern state
Okay.
imaginable. Like,
Why'd you move around so much?
well, because when we first got to the U.S., my parents we were in Tennessee because my dad came here on a student visa.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we were in Knoxville, Tennessee, and that's why I love country music. I'm like the only Asian that I know that loves country music.
Cool.
I didn't see your cowboy boots.
Oh no. They are permanently hidden in my closet. But it's tough to walk on. It's especially when when it's something I don't really showcase a lot when I'm in New York. But
Mhm.
I do have pretty southern roots, and then like moving to like Minnesota and Iowa, and then
Wow.
Illinois, and my school was in Missouri.
Hmm.
For those of you who don't speak Midwestern, that's Missouri.
Yeah.
And
I thought you said misery.
Exactly.
High school was utter misery.
Have you been?
I
to
understood. I was
Missouri?
like,
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so grew up all around there, and then didn't even want to move to New York because I'm like, wow, that's in the movies. I'm gonna get stabbed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But before I went there, I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know what really good food was. I mean,
Really?
I'll tell you, I'm kind of ashamed, right? But this was. I still love this place, but the number one place I loved to go to when I was in college for food, number one, I drove.
Applebee's?
I wish. I
TGI
drove like
Fridays?
90 minutes to go to this place, Olive Garden.
Uh-huh.
Olive Garden.
Really?
The garden.
Still love all.
You still the garden?
The garden can raise you. The garden will supply with unlimited breadsticks. So you go in there, right? Your poor
You
college
love
student.
the unlimited.
This is the beginning of my unlimited obsession. It began at the garden. And I went to the garden, and I'm like, yeah, I want this meal because I was so poor. I'm like, each entree was like $12,
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, here's some breadsticks. I'm like, excuse me, how many of these can I have? Oh, as many as you want. As many as I want with soup. Soup is free?
I didn't know that.
You didn't? Oh my God. You missed out on
Yeah.
such
I
great soup.
never.
I kid you not, the soup at Olive Garden is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you go there, you go to Olive Garden, and I'll tell you guys a trick. You go to Olive Garden, you get an entree for like $12, right?
Mhm.
And then you're like, hey, yeah, I would like more breadsticks. And you keep eating their breadsticks until the server gets to a point where they're completely frustrated with you and they hate you. So they bring over a massive, like 2-3 baskets of breadsticks. They don't want to hear it anymore. Like, here's your breadsticks.
Ah,
And
that's
that's
the
when
way.
you say the magical words. Hey, can you pack my entree and all these breadsticks to go? Because yeah, I'm gonna just no, you got food for the next week.
Wow.
The garden will provide.
Wow.
When I was poor, I was too scared to do this. But when I was poor, do you know what Harris Teeter is?
No.
Oh, I know what Harris Teeter. That's
What-
a
what is
southern
that?
thing.
Harris
It's a
Teeter.
supermarket in the
Okay.
south.
And it's a really nice one. It's better than
But
Food
it's-
Lion and
It's,
stuff.
it's,
But
it's
they had like a big salad bar at the one in my college town, and
Yeah.
I heard that you could go in there and just pack up like a big thing, and you buy it. So if it's $20 and you complain about it, they'll give you your money back times 2.
Why? What do you mean you complain
Because
about
that's how high their standard of quality was
What are
for
you
their salad
complaining
bar.
about? It's like the salad.
The salad isn't good. I never did it. I was too scared. But
Looked like a rabbit shoot on it first. Just like, what do you
another
say?
Harris Teeter trick.
So they give you $40.
That's
if
what
you
I've heard.
complain.
Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
and I used to go there and just eat free samples. That's why I
Interesting.
heard about it.
Do you still go to Olive Garden?
I haven't been in a while, but the last time I was in Olive Garden was the unlimited pasta bowl. You guys ever had this experience?
No.
No.
It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful.
They do unlimited pasta too.
Listen,
How
like
do they make money?
you have to go and try the Olive Garden unlimited pasta bowl because like I love certain pastas at Olive Garden a lot, like the Alfredo fettuccine. I made the server cry, like at least on the brink of tears because I stayed there. And it was. I got there at like 2:00 or something. Her shift ended at like 2:30 or something. I stayed for so long, and I kept getting bowls up and bowls and bowls.
And she's like,
of
"This is
fettuccine.
Mikey Chen. He's gonna tip."
Well, I was
wait.
just a poor dude, and finally she's like, "It's it's an hour past my shift," and so she finally just brought me like 4 bowls of fettuccine. She's like, "Here, I'm just gonna leave this here with you. I'm gonna go," and I'm like, "Wow, I feel really bad, but at the same time, my stomach feels so good."
Yeah. Also, when Mike Chen was broke, that's
I was
the
broke.
secret.
Yeah, I was broke a long time throughout my life, so I know a lot of these cost saving measures.
Yeah. That's what I loved about China too, is how cheap the food was in China. Like you can get a haircut and like the best meal you've ever had and like not spend more than $5.
For sure. But
And they'll put a Q-tip in your ear. and
why would they
shit.
put a Q-tip in your ear?
Well, no, when you get your haircut, they clean your ear.
Oh, okay.
You've never had that done there?
I've never had anyone.
You've never had your ears cleaned in China?
I never.
That's what they do when they
Oh,
when they cut your hair.
You've done it too?
yeah, multiple
I
times.
didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know
They have like
they penetrate your ear.
They have like they'll open up like a leather pouch and it has these different utensils and
Oh,
they'll get in there and
they get
clean
you
out
right.
the wax out of your ears.
Is it a communal?
No, it's not communal.
Like,
No.
Q-tip is.
Y'all
like-
are weird. What the?
No, they're like,
I mean, you talk
Standard,
about
I thought.
like as a toolbox. I'm assuming it's
it's
like
like
disposable.
No, but it's like well, not so much disposable, but it's like all been what's the word I'm looking for? Not immunized. It's been sterilized.
Okay.
It's all been sterilized, and like I've experienced it at like a sauna, and they have the guy that comes in and cleans your ears. But I've also had it done to me in a park in China.
But so my question would be like, how would they know when they've gone too far?
Yeah. They're professionals.
And that was
What is
something
that- what
that's something
happens?
that's very concerning,
Right.
but they know. It's like,
Really?
yeah.
Do you scream out in pain? That's how they know?
No.
Or-
It's not even painful. It's a little, I guess you're on the edge of your seat because you're like, I hope they don't go in and punch my eardrum
Yeah.
because that would just be pure pain. But they just seem to know the contours of your ear
Well,
It was
canal.
oddly satisfying.
We should hire a lot of these guys to perform COVID tests in this country because the couple times that I've done it, they shoved it.
Here,
They shoved it in and
I
kept on pushing.
I heard that you don't have to shove it so hard anymore.
They shoved it hard.
I think there's different tests. Like I
Ah.
think there's a newer test that they say they don't, but the traditional, the one that people have been using up until now is kind of like tickle the brain, kind of straight up the nose.
Oh,
It hurts bad.
I about cried. I about begged for mercy. I mean, that was straight up assault. So on some level, I was like, I mean, I've got many tests in the US, never something so deep before.
Really?
I think the tip of it's still in my brain somewhere.
All right, this conversation should be taken out of context. We're talking about tips
Never been so
going deep. My God. Jesus.
You've traveled the world eating food and been to multiple countries. For you personally, where would you say is the epitome of cuisine in your travels?
I think for me, I would still say China has the best food for me. Because it is a place where I feel like every city you go to, although I haven't been back in China in like 20 years, but every city you go to has something completely new because a lot of people may not realize there's over 55, 56 minority ethnic groups in China, all with their own customs, language, cuisine. So everywhere you go in China, there's something completely different. Like the broad ones are, okay, so if you go to the northeast, it's more like Korean food, a lot of stews, a lot of root vegetables, potatoes, radishes, things like that, cabbage. You go to northern China, there's a lot of noodles because they don't cultivate rice. So a lot of noodles, biang noodles. I don't know if you guys ever had that. It's the best. It's the king of all noodles. If you go to southern China, you got, the Cantonese food, which is more steamed, fresh flavors. Sichuan, spicy and numb. We talked about this last time. Everywhere you go in China is something 100% new. And it's
How many
just
provinces
amazing.
are there again that they like divide the food
There's
up into?
I mean, some say there's 5 major cuisines. Some say there's 8. Some say there's a lot more. But I personally feel like there's 5 major cuisines in Chinese cooking. But it's so diverse. It's really completely different one from the other.
Which is kind of ironic when people are like, let's go and eat Chinese or let's go to a Chinese restaurant.
Right.
And when you think about it, in reality, you can't just have a Chinese restaurant because
No.
it can't cover all the cuisines in that country.
it's coming from the Midwest, you hear that a lot, right? What do you want? Let's get Chinese food. Okay, what Chinese food do you want? There's so many. Like even that's what I really appreciate about moving to New York. In New York, there's actually a lot of representation from, like the Uyghur population in China, the northern Chinese, the southern Chinese, the ones from Sichuan and Canton and Fujian. There's like every time you go, you can't just say I want Chinese food. You have to be like, do I want soup dumplings today? Do I want noodles today?
Yeah.
Do I want congee today? Do I want dim sum today? That would be my number one place to spend the rest of my life, just eat my way around.
What do you think of the Korean version of Chinese food? It's like the black bean noodles and the dumpling, the what I don't even know what dumpling is in English, but you've had it before, right?
Jjampong? What is
like
that?
the jjajangmyeon, like the black bean
yes,
noodles.
of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think of it?
I love it.
You love it's good, right?
There's a huge difference.
There's
right?
a huge difference.
There's a huge difference. And I talk about, and I just filmed a cooking video yesterday where I made Korean jjajangmyeon.
Oh, really?
And I have to say, I'm gonna pat myself on the back a little bit.
You did well.
I gotta say, I could sell that. I'm just gonna say I could sell that.
Awesome.
It came out amazing, and I love the Korean version of it because I feel like the Korean version, it's the sauce is completely different, right? It's not completely different. They're both bean sauces, but it's very different.
Yeah.
And the ingredients used in both cases, like in China, the jjajangmyeon is typically with just potatoes, minced meat potatoes. But here, a lot of times they use fatty pork belly.
Yeah.
And that is just a magical ingredient.
It's good, yeah.
Oh my goodness, when that thing melts, so does your heart.
Yeah.
It feels like we come back to, we're talking about your heart melting when you're enjoying food.
Right.
It seems for me that Mike has to meet someone that is in love with food.
Equally
as much
passionate. Yeah.
I think that's
as yourself.
But okay, see, you know what? I think that's something that's kind of non-negotiable. Like I feel like, I mean, there's certain things like I really don't care about in a girlfriend. Like I really don't care if you like country music or not, or we share the same interest in anything. But food is such an intimate thing. Like you eat 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And like I plan things around food. Like it's really tough when you go on vacation and you're like, hey, we gotta go to this city because they're known for, let's say you're going to Italy, we gotta go to Naples because that's the just the origin of pizza was from there. We gotta go to Naples. We gotta go to Florence because the Florentine steak and the best sandwich in the world. But if your partner's like, well, I don't care anything about that.
Yeah.
Like I think that's tough.
I'm so obsessed with it too that I always have to remind myself, like, even though my girlfriend always agrees to do all the different food stuff,
Right.
I also should propose one kind of, let's also go see this kind of tourist thing.
No. It's you have
all
to.
my shit is food. Like I want 4 meals a day if I'm
Yes.
going to China. I want to try everything.
I have the same instance. I'll go on vacation with my wife and like if she's hungry, she needs to eat.
Right.
But like we're in New York and she's like, I'm hungry. Let's just get something to eat. And I'm like, well, if we walk for another 45 minutes, there's a really good pizza joint. Let's walk for another 45
and that'll burn
minutes.
the calories we eat so we can eat more later.
But then for the next 45 minutes, I'm getting it in the ear.
Yeah, she's hangry.
I'm hungry. I need to eat.
Yeah.
And she's one of these people that gets really upset.
Yeah, hunger is real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she absolutely gets it. And I'm like, I don't want to eat bad food for the sake of putting it in my stomach. So there's definitely an issue there. But I also find you can get that balance with someone if there are some people that enjoy to eat.
Right.
But then there are also some people that really enjoy to cook.
Yes.
So that partnership can also be a really interesting partnership.
Yes.
Having a partner that loves to cook and loves watching you enjoy eating their food.
Yeah. No, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right. Like you have to like, if you are with someone who doesn't enjoy food as much as you, I mean, you got to be considerate of that as well. Like there's obviously more to vacation than just food.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, there is.
I don't understand it, but there is.
There's haunted
I
castles.
heard.
That's also awesome. But yeah, you have to be considerate of that as well. But it's just better. Like, obviously you're happy with your wife and there's this great relationship, I'm sure. But for me, like it's just for me, it's easier when I'm like, yeah, let's walk the 45 minutes and knowing that my partner's going to be like, oh, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's trek over there because, yeah, I want some of that bomb pizza.
Yeah.
I'll do the 45 minutes. Let's do it. it just makes you happy. Like, I don't know about you guys. Like when I meet someone, whether it be friends or like people you just meet to just go out and eat, and I'll find something like, well, let's say we plan on going somewhere. It was closed down, and then we're looking on our phones. I'm like, and I'll be like, oh hey, there's a place, but it's like 30 minutes away. And when they're like, oh no, let's go. When they say, oh no, let's go, let's just go, let's do it.
Today's episode of Nonsensible is brought to you by health counseling app BetterHelp. That's HELP help. We're all experiencing a year where depression, stress levels, and mental health issues are rising at an all-time high. Sometimes stress and anxiety can keep you from pursuing your dreams or completing your goals. Even things that normally bring you so much joy can suddenly begin to feel like burdens. In my case, making music brings me more joy than just about anything else on the planet. But when this whole thing started, it was nearly impossible to get off the couch and go to the studio to record, as everything just kind of felt hopeless. Dave, Sam, and I are very fortunate to have this platform to come together and just talk with some really great guests about how we're doing emotionally. And as you know, if you're a frequent listener of the show, some of the most beautiful people on the outside are really struggling at times on the inside. Some super successful people whose lives seem to be picture perfect sometimes just don't want to get out of bed in the morning too. We really appreciate having this platform, even if it just makes one of y'all's days better. But we realize that not everyone is quite so fortunate to have a place to come and talk to people when things get tough. You shouldn't and don't have to deal with these things alone. That's why we wanted to tell you about BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an app that helps you connect with professional counselors in a private, safe, online environment in under 24 hours. This isn't just self-help, it's professional counseling. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off of the first month by visiting our sponsor, betterhelp.com/nonsensible. That's better, HELP, help.com/nonsensible. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's betterhelp, HELP.com/nonsensible. Go check it out today.
You know,
Have you had chicken ramen before?
Yes.
I
Best
didn't
chicken
even know
ramen.
it existed until like
Really?
2 years ago. Yeah.
I'll tell you, best chicken ramen I ever had in my life, right here in Seoul.
Was it
Where?
over here in Yongsan?
Hanamokushi?
Uino.
Oh,
Have you not
What is
been
it?
there?
no.
What's it
I know
called?
someplace you don't know.
Yeah. What is it called?
Uino? Unino?
Where was it?
It's in Hyundai.
Yeah. I think I've been there.
It's amazing.
There's one like right when you get out Sangsu Station.
Yeah, it's in
You
a
go
tiny
right.
little place. It's like a tiny little place. There's 1, 2, 3.
It's a tiny little place, and the broth looks like pork broth because it's white.
Yeah, I know that place.
It's creamy looking.
It's next to my house.
It's
Yeah.
It's next to
Sangsu.
my house. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's in
I've been
Sangsu. Yeah,
that thing
It's
is
so
so
good.
smooth,
Yeah.
smooth. Whatever ramen it wants in the world, it can pick it
Yeah.
up.
yeah.
It will be able to pick it up because it's so smooth.
That place is good.
Oh,
We got a place that we like now too called Hanamokushi in this cool little neighborhood here. It's
What
like
is that?
chicken breast. They use chicken breast.
Oh my god, that place is so good. I want
It's
it.
so
chicken breast
good.
ramen?
And it looks like it's like a house. You turn down this really unassuming
So
alley.
it's in this alleyway.
What neighborhood?
Here in
Samgachi.
Yongsan.
They call it Yeoljongdo, like Tashin Island.
It's hidden first of all,
Uh-huh.
and it looks like it doesn't even. There's no sign outside or anything. You just walk it. If you know, you know.
Uh-huh.
And it's a hidden little house. It just looks like somebody lives there, and you open it. It's a restaurant. It's the
Really?
craziest thing you've
And
ever
the
seen.
owner speaks Japanese.
And it's open from like 11 to 1 closed, and it reopens from 5 to 7, closes again.
It's always lying out the door.
It's just you get a thin amount of time spent to go there and eat their food.
Wow.
Used to be a line out the door all the time. And then for some reason, they went back to Japan for a little while. And then when it came back, like I think people didn't really know that it opened back up.
Yeah.
So the line isn't as crazy as it used to be right now.
Let's
It's-
go there before this podcast comes out.
Yeah.
You know how I said I'm not a foodie.
That's what I was gonna say. Dude.
When I ate
I was
there,
gonna say
I'm like,
that
why are
too.
you so shocked?
I almost cried how
Wow.
good it was.
When I
couldn't
told
believe
him
it.
I wanted to take him to a ramen place, he was like, I know it. And
It's so good.
Okay, I need that place.
afterwards, Icha could be jukumi, the little mini
Yeah,
octopus. Have you had those? Yeah, the little
Octopus,
mini
yeah.
squid.
On
The baby squids.
the one that looks like that substitute teacher anime guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Try to blow up the
really good
world.
one.
Do you watch anime?
I live anime.
Oh my god, me too.
I wanted to be. You have no idea what my career choice was when I was little. Like not even little. I was like 12 years old. My career choice was to be a ninja. Like I'm not even joking. This was the official career
Yeah.
choice for me.
Hey, can I
Whoa, he's stripping right now.
I don't know if you know what Itachi is. And
David just stripped.
Itachi.
Huh?
Do you know who Itachi is from Naruto or?
Okay, I didn't get too far into Naruto because that's it's like 20 billion episodes.
Yeah, well, I have anime all over my body just because I'm such an anime nerd.
It's awesome. I have commitment issues, so Naruto was just a little scary for me.
Did you watch Haikyuu?
Huh?
Haikyuu, volleyball anime?
No, I don't
No,
watch.
never mind.
Okay, what I've been watching is have you ever seen this anime called
Code Geass.
I was killed and reincarnated as a slime? It sounds
Is that
stupid.
the translation?
No, that's the title.
In English.
I died and reincarnated as a slime. That is the exact title of this anime.
I like that.
It sounds so dumb.
Slime.
It sounds so
Is
dumb.
it newer?
I don't think it's been out. There's a few seasons now. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, this guy dies and he reincarnates as the title says everything.
Yeah. you won't guess what happens. He dies and is reincarnated as a slime.
It's hilarious. It's a great anime. I've been watching that now.
It's great when you find someone that you can enjoy meals with. Like I've been on the other end of the spectrum before I was married with, who's now my wife. We were, a couple at the time. And I remember going out one evening for a Christmas dinner at a 5-star hotel. My friend was like the executive chef there.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, come along. We've got this 5-course meal. I'm like, great. And it's like foie gras and all these like great different foods. And she's like, I don't know that I like this. She's like, I just want to go and have tteokbokki.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this 5-course meal, and it's not cheap. And
Yeah.
but then you kind of, I guess, you learn to appreciate like different people have different expectations from food, and she's more of like the market, and she's like the street food.
That's it.
And that's like, it's like, okay, cool. She's got me into that. I was more of the higher scale of, wanting to eat at fancy restaurants. We've kind of worked out that we can balance each other out.
Yeah.
Because what you said before about having someone that you're on the same level with food, I find that in relationships, even if you're not there, this person can introduce you to things that you may have not gone out and found on your own.
Yeah, 100%.
Which, I think in terms, for me, it's expanded my horizons with food.
It'll save you a lot of money too if your wife doesn't want to eat foie gras. And
Damn straight. She's a cheap date. I tell you what. Soju and some tteokbokki and she's good.
That's awesome.
No, that's the best. That's the best. I feel like the best foods in any country, it's found on the streets, really, because think about this, right? Most people can probably make something delicious if you give them really good ingredients.
Mhm.
But it takes a special chef to give someone just a few things or something that others might consider junk,
Yeah.
right? And they can make something obscenely delicious from that.
That's why I love the whole thing about in Korea. Korea, unlike America, you can go to a street here and there'll be the same type of food sold in 10 different restaurants.
Right.
Like one of my favorite places to go is like a gur bosam alley, which is just like, it's pork and oysters mixed together. And that's so weird, right? But if you can make a restaurant that stands out among 10 other restaurants that serve the exact same food, that's like the definition of soul food, right?
Yeah.
That's the definition of
neighborhoods that are just based on one.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of
Whole neighborhoods.
It's, you take me to a hamburger joint and they could have the most amazing hamburger that they're imaginable. But if they can't make a proper cheeseburger, I'm like, I don't want to know them.
Yeah.
You have to be able to make the basics. And if you can do an exceptional job of that, everything else is exceptional.
Right.
If you're only making the really difficult things exceptional and the basics are falling away,
What's that movie called where the woman goes over to Italy to cook and the guy goes like, make an omelet? Like if you know how, you know what I'm talking about? It's like it's the exact same thing. It's like
Gordon Ramsay was one of these cooking shows, and the first thing they did was cooking eggs.
Yeah.
Like boiling an egg. And that was like one of the missions on one of these cooking shows.
Well, that's like that guy from Jiro Dreams of Sushi, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't let people. If you learn from him, you got to make rice.
Make
for 10
rice
years.
first.
10 years. I'd be after 2 weeks. I'm like, dude, I know how to make rice. Can I please touch the eggs? Like I'd be kicked out in like 2 weeks.
Speaking of Korean food, how good are you with spicy?
I'll say this.
Okay.
Nothing in Korea has really been too spicy for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. It's because I feel
Ooh.
like Korean spice, a lot of it is a little sweet and it's a
Mhm.
little tuned down. Like if you go to Thailand, they're trying to actually murder you with their
Yeah.
chilies.
Really?
But here I feel like anything that people say is spicy to me, it's really not that spicy.
I can find.
Well, I'm sure you can. And,
Yeah.
and look, I've been schooled, and if you guys ever go Google like my spiciest curry in the world challenge, that
Was it wild?
dude, it was. I did my best impression of Godzilla versus Linda Blair in The Exorcist ever after eating that spicy curry.
Yeah.
Like I went outside and I just Godzilla Exorcist the entire New Jersey block. And
Wait, did you actually throw up, or were you making a?
Oh no! It was not just throw up. It was power induced, flame orange colored
Whoa.
magma crap just flowing from my soul.
Linda Blair's like projectile vomit.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did that. Like a lady, I saw a lady, this is before anything happened. A lady was pushing her stroller down the street towards me. I saw her dash across the road when I started going full on Exorcist.
Whoa.
Running into traffic.
Yeah,
There's a donkas place here that does
Yeah.
the same thing. If you can finish it in
I heard about that.
in
Is that
Shinlim.
Ghost Chilies? Ghost
I did it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the main thing about that place, they don't even make it taste good. Their regular donkas on the menu is
Yeah.
good, but if you try the spicy food challenge thing, they actually try to make it bitter,
Yeah.
and they'll say to you, "This isn't meant for people. This
Right.
food is."
I think my spicy eating days are over after I think the curry thing was that wasn't the last thing I did, but like it was one of the last things I did
It's pretty traumatizing.
you guys have no idea. Like that, it's funny if you go watch the video because afterwards I seem fine. I seem completely normal.
Mhm.
And then just walking down, it was crazy because it was in New Jersey and it was a beautiful manicured lawns everywhere. And it's a beautiful site. It just rained. So everything smells like freshly cut grass.
Yeah.
in a fresh rainstorm. And I go out there and I'm just like walking. I'm like, I feel good. And then it hits you. I felt like someone punched me in my soul. And then the wave of vomit was just world record breaking. And afterwards, I'm just like in a ball on the ground, just like, oh, I'm gonna die. I Googled, can spicy food kill me after that? I Googled
Wow.
it. I thought I was gonna die. I Googled it.
Wow.
Yeah. So no more spicy challenges for me.
From that, are there any foods that you've tried and you're like, I will never eat this food again?
Yeah, cow penis.
Besides cow penis, is there
Yeah.
anything else that like you just don't go near?
Balut. Have you guys ever
Yeah,
had a balut?
I haven't had it, but
It's from like
Fermented. It's not fermented.
shark.
it's the
No,
duck fetus.
It's a fetus. It's a
Oh, that's the Filipino.
Yeah.
it's so there's different days, right? You can get like 18 days where it's kind of developed and has blood and feathers and maybe a little beak.
Mhm.
You ate it?
Well, I ate the one that was before that, and it
Mm.
was slimy, and I couldn't. I mean, I a lot of people like it, and that's fine, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I mean, I
Yeah.
did it, but I didn't want to do it again. And I'm a guy who's had ant larvae. I've had crickets. I've had
Have you had
snails.
mountain oysters?
Yeah, I've had Rocky Mountain oysters.
You'd go back for those?
I would not.
Okay.
I would not.
What's that?
It's what is
bull
it? Sheep's
balls.
testicles? Bull's
It's
testicles?
bull's testicles.
Deep
It's
fried?
bull's testicles. They call it Rocky Mountain
what's
oysters.
better, bull dick or bull balls?
Balls is better.
Balls is
At least
better?
the way it was cooked.
You're a
I've
ball
had,
guy?
I've had balls too.
At
Yeah.
least it was the way it was cooked. It's less slimy.
Yeah.
Like I was brought to a restaurant. It was like they don't even call it like testicle soup. They just call it soup number 5. You're like, all right, all right. There's something wrong with that. So they don't exactly say what it is. So you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'll take a soup number 5 and they give it to you. You take a bite. You're just like, this is like after you taste that, you kind of know what a ghost tastes like because it's just like slimy ectoplasm-ish stuff.
God, moving octopus makes me want to throw up. So this is just
Really?
just Seafood makes you want to throw up.
This cow came back to life to put it in your mouth one last
Oh my
time.
God. But yeah, so that's something I don't love. I also don't love broccoli. Are you guys broccoli?
Really?
Are you
I
guys
love
broccoli
broccoli.
people?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
So beef and broccoli stir fry.
Oh, first of all, that's not even Chinese food.
American Chinese.
Yes, very American.
Yeah, that
That's
is
like
American.
almost like it's one of the menu items in an
Yes,
American Chinese.
American
restaurant.
I actually just made that because Kenji Lopez made it on his YouTube show. Do you watch his YouTube at all?
I don't watch much YouTube.
I don't
Oh.
watch YouTube.
I just made like
I
a
don't know
message.
about you
either. I don't watch
It's right?
YouTube.
It's
I don't watch
after
YouTube.
you're done
work.
uploading, you're like, I can't
don't
be
watch
on this anymore.
YouTube
But
either.
you know who Kenji Lopez is, right? The Food Lab guy.
I didn't see. I haven't seen
Sorry,
his
dude.
show yet.
Normie.
He's great. He's a really cool chef. But his YouTube channel during quarantine
Yeah,
has just been like strapping a GoPro on his head,
yeah.
and he just nerds out about food
Uh-huh.
while he cooks it. There's like very little editing. It's cool. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I mean, does he cook a lot of broccoli?
I mean,
Is that why?
recently he
So
made beef and broccoli.
You've got him.
But he makes a lot of noodles and mandu and stuff.
Here's why I hate broccoli. I'll tell you why. Okay, I have 3 reasons why I hate broccoli. First of all, reason one is because it's not part. Although it's in every single Chinese restaurant here, broccoli is not an indigenous Chinese vegetable.
Yeah.
Like it's not part of Chinese cuisine,
Mhm.
but it's in like all these Americanized Chinese. So that's why
It's the most culturally appropriating vegetable.
It's reason why one I don't like it. Number two is it tastes like a tree and it doesn't shrink. So it fills up valuable real estate in your stomach
Mhm.
that could be reserved for like
Meat.
meat.
Mhm.
I like that reason.
But it's taking up space. Third reason is, did you guys know that Bruce Lee had an evil twin brother? Did you guys know that?
No.
His name was Broccoli. There you go. That's reason three.
Wah.
Reason 3.
Reason 3.
You had me at reason 2. I didn't even need to go to reason 3.
Broccoli.
Hey, okay. Broccoli is not indigenous to
I
China.
can't stop hearing.
Here's some of the things you hear about Chinese food, that spaghetti actually originated in China
Noodles, yes.
and pizza originated in China is another thing I've heard.
That's yeah. Some people say that. Yes, I'm sure Italians are very
Why
unhappy
would people
with
say that? Do people eat cheese in China?
Not cheese.
A different kind of pizza?
I mean, like xiaobing. Like in China, we call it xiaobing. It's just a pancake.
Is it, yeah.
Yeah.
With stuff on top.
I mean, if you, that's a stretch.
Hey, give us noodles. You got to give us
Yeah,
noodles.
noodles for
like,
sure.
Come on.
Like
Marco Polo took that all the way across.
Yeah. Noodles for
but there's a
sure.
couple of interesting things that was invented in China that might surprise a lot of people.
Mm.
One is
Gunpowder.
the fork.
The fork?
This is why I say chopsticks is way superior. I got 2 reasons for that. One is because, think about it, you didn't bring your fork, right? You went camping. What are you going to do?
Get 2 twigs.
But if you get 2 twigs, you got chopsticks.
Mm.
Number two is Chinese people invented the fork and the chopsticks, but we stuck with the chopsticks.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
Think about that. Yeah.
Do you guys know why Korea has the metal chopsticks?
Yeah, isn't it for poison testing?
That's what I heard too, but
Yeah.
I wondered if that was just like an urban legend.
I don't think so. Bronze is definitely for the poison,
Yeah.
100%.
Did you know that?
no.
Yeah.
I had heard that. It's also a lot more difficult to use
You think?
than
Once
just
you get used to them.
plastic or wooden chopsticks. There's a lot more. Yeah, it slides around in your fingers a bit
I
more.
think wooden are harder to use
Me
now.
too.
It hurts my hands.
And it makes it go like this.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I think Korean chopsticks are fancier, but it's very, very, very bad idea when vampires attack. I'm just saying.
That's true.
It's super bad.
It's a really bad idea
What
when
are you gonna
vampires
do?
attack because yeah.
Like it's just vampires aren't afraid of.
Ah,
Yeah.
Get it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, nerd stuff. Yeah.
Sorry.
Nerd
You
stuff.
liked it.
Stuff that runs through my mind.
Did you have something else that had originated? You mentioned the fork.
Sushi.
Sushi.
Sushi originated in China. So back in the day, it was Chinese people utilized rice, and they put meat in rice to preserve the meat so it doesn't go bad.
Mhm.
And then the rice would ferment at the same time. And
Mm.
the Japanese people started utilizing that same method, but then they took a bite of the rice. They're like, "This is delicious."
Yeah.
That's why the rice is a little vinegary.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, because the moisture inside of the
Yeah.
meat would get sucked up by the rice.
But Chinese people created that.
I'm just sitting here and I keep looking at you must hear this all the time. You look like Jackie Chan.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I try to have a little fun with it because, some like when I was in Peru, right? I don't speak any Portuguese or sorry,
Spanish.
Spanish. Sorry, I don't speak any Spanish. I was in Peru, and all I would hear would be like people looking at me and then just going, no, Jackie Chen. That's all I would hear. And then, but I try to have some fun with it because sometimes I'll, at the airport, someone will be like, you know who you look like? I'll be like, no, who? Like Jackie Chen. Oh, yeah, actually, that's because that's my father because I'm Mike Chen. And I show them my ID, I'm Mike Chen. They're like, oh, can I get your picture? Because, and can you tell your dad I love this last movie?
Funny.
And I'm like, I'll tell him. I'll let him know.
That's so funny.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'll just prank him right back. And then I'll be like, you don't believe me? No, my last name is Chen. And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, look at my Instagram account. It's verified. Like, whoa.
Dude, that's so good.
Wow.
Yeah, that is really
That's
good.
a perfect troll. Oh my God. That's my
With the
kind of
verified
shit, dude.
account, that just
I love
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Why
Yeah.
not?
All right, I got a question. I think it's going to be an awesome question, so get ready.
Let's wait.
Wow.
and hit-
You don't even have to. This is a
Expectations
podcast.
are
You can
high
just
now.
say the question.
We'll make judgment on whether it's good or not.
First of all,
You don't have to say.
shut your mouth. Second
Okay.
of all, thank you, Sam. And third of all, what is the most, in your opinion, unknown, underrated food that people aren't appreciating?
Oh, I think there's a lot.
Give it.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a ton of stuff.
one you'd like to shout out that you guys don't know about this, or you guys
Okay.
don't know this country's food, but more people need to know.
Okay, so this is kind of spreading a lot more in the U.S. now.
Okay.
But I still don't think it's as highly known as it was before. But my town of Xi'an is a city is the oldest city in China. It was originally the capital of China.
Mhm.
The food in Xi'an is the most underrated in the world because it is the best. And I'm not just saying that because I'm kind of biased. Maybe I am. But especially there's this noodle dish called
Okay.
biang biang noodle.
Byung
You
byung
guys ever
noodle.
heard about this before?
No.
No.
I want to look at it.
It's called biang
See if
biang
I've had
noodle
it.
because when you make it, it makes the biang biang sound when you slap it against the counter. It's the chewiest,
Ooh.
best mouthfeel, most intense flavored, gorgeous noodle you'll ever have in your life. It will whoop every other noodle that gets in the dark alley with it. It will whoop them and take their lunch money. That's how much better this noodle is than any other noodle in existence.
I
how's
think
the
I have
noodle
had that.
prepared? Is it
It's-
in a broth or is it?
You can prepare it any different way. So the way I like to prepare it is called yopo mian, which means you put, which is genius, by the way. Obviously I didn't invent this, but there's they put dry chili on there. They put some garlic and some scallions, and they heat up oil, and they flash fry the ingredients. So you hear the sizzle, and then all of a sudden your nose is just pummeled with this aroma from the roasted garlic and the chilies and the scallions, and it's just hitting you everywhere. Then you just mix that all up with some soy sauce, vinegar, hot oil, and you slurp that noodle, which is covered in tiny bits of chilies, and you just want
sounds
to beg
so
it for
good.
mercy. That's how good it is. And it's one long noodle, so the slurp never ends.
Oh man,
That sounds
does
so
that not
great.
sound out of your mind?
I,
Oh, you gotta calm down.
I'm just envisioning this because you're so descriptive
I know
about the food.
You're so
This-
good at that.
This passion.
Yeah.
Where did this originate from? Like this passion for food. Like you mentioned earlier, when you're in university, Olive
Yes.
Garden was a go-to staple.
Yes.
But obviously,
I used to talk about that, about the breast sticks.
So it's just like
Yeah, but you've obviously taken it beyond that, and you
you're
have
poetic almost.
yeah.
Well, like I said in the last podcast, I am single. So a lot of my energy has just been doing this.
Oh, no.
And a lot of, no, I'm just kidding. But a lot of my passion is kind of directed towards food
Mhm.
because this is, I feel like, unlike a lot of people, food has really let me down.
Xiaolong Bao, maybe I'm saying that wrong.
You're saying it right, yeah?
Who do they know who discovered who like came up with how to make that?
It started in the around Shanghai, around Tianjin. Wait, was that Shanghai? Yeah, sorry, not Tianjin. Nanxiang, around that region, Shanghai, around that region. What am I saying? Tianjin? It totally blew my mind. But it's been in that region for a long, long time. You guys know how they put the soup in there?
Yeah, that's
You
what.
wanna
Do you
know?
guys know?
Okay, so so there's soup dumpling fairies, and it's not the keyboard elves. No, they actually put the fat, and then put it in the fridge, and it becomes like a jelly,
Yeah,
and they put it into the bun.
that's how I'm wondering who discovered it
No,
because they didn't have fridges back then, did they? Like, did you put it under snow or something?
Winter dish.
well, like any fat, if you just put it in room temperature, if you just let it
Yeah.
be cool,
Ah.
it will congeal.
Oh, okay.
But that's one of a billion. I'll tell you how dumplings got started. In general,
Someone told me that the other day. Yeah, what is it?
so there's this
It's like a sandwich, isn't it? It's like they just
dumplings.
But it
Smash
has
it
something to do
together.
with like
No. It's
an offering from.
no. It was from a officer, like a government official. His name is Zhang Zhong something. His name, I can't remember his whole name at the moment, but he was an official. He went back home after he retired, and his home was in the north. And he went home and he realized a lot of people in his hometown was they were freezing and they're getting frostbite everywhere. He was also a doctor, so what he did was he created like this big broth. He put a lot of Chinese herbs in there, lamb meat, a lot of things that help circulate the blood and warms your body up. Then he folded the medicine and the herbs and the meat into these little dough things that were shaped like years. That's why originally the dumplings were called jiao er, which is like dumpling ear. They're kind of like shaped like ears. So he cooked this whole soup, and people came and they ate the soup, and their ears got better. Their frostbite ears got better. It healed, and that's why in Chinese culture, every winter solstice we have to eat dumplings, otherwise our ears falls off. So if you ever see a Chinese person with no ears, they did not eat
They
dumplings.
did not eat their dumplings.
Yeah.
Are there multiple stories about how dumplings came about, or is that
That
like,
is pretty much
the widely accepted one?
Yes, that is pretty much it.
wow,
yeah.
that's so cool.
that's
What
crazy.
what a better way to go out than having the Strictly Dumpling guy tell us about how dumplings came about.
Yeah, and it's
What is dumplings in Chinese?
饺子?
So why don't we just start calling it that?
You can?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's also a character in Dragon Ball. So
Jiaozi.
some people might
Jiaozi.
be confused. You're like, I want to eat jiaozi, and you're like, why do you want to eat that little guy from Dragon Ball?
If we can all agree, that doctor invented them, we should call them by their Chinese name.
He's the one with Tian, right? Who
Yeah.
goes around Tian?
Yeah, he's a
Okay.
guy that looks like a
Yeah.
little zombie.
Yeah, Tian
Yeah.
Jiaozi.
Jiaozi.
blew himself up.
Yeah.
Jiaozi.
It's just been so refreshing to have someone speak so. I just have this passion, and to be able to hear it with every word you've said in regards to food,
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
because it's not often that you sit down and talk to people, even when you do talk about food, but to see this kind of passion. And it was almost like just listening to it. It was like listening to someone recite poetry. It was just the way
Wow.
you
So
spoke
thank
about
you.
food was. I could have just sat here all day and just listened to you talk about it.
Yeah.
Like I almost think, like I understand you have half a dozen YouTube channels, but you could easily start a radio show and just talk about food for an hour, and I think people would tune in just to listen to that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, maybe I will. Maybe you guys' podcast is looking pretty fun. It's just,
I was really excited about the episode, and you did not disappoint.
well, I appreciate you guys having me. You guys are
Wow.
amazing. Thank you. You guys are also kind and welcoming. So I thank you so much.
Oh, we had so much fun listening to everything.
It was such a pleasure having you here with us, Mike. Thank you
Well, I
so
appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much for joining us.
much. Yeah.
I do look forward to the food tips.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm gonna slide in your DMs. Let's go eat.
Slide away. Slide away.
Any last things you'd like to tell our listeners?
If you guys want to see the show, Strictly Dumpling on YouTube, or just Google Mike Chen and things should pop up. But thank you guys
Right
again
on.
so much for having me here.
Of course, if you want to watch this podcast in its entirety, you can find us on YouTube at Dive Studios. We're also on Instagram as well. Listen to the podcast. We are on Spotify. We're also on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to leave a review. We'd appreciate the 5 stars.
Close this out. Thanks for joining us on Nonsensible with Dave
Sam?
So
and Mike.
And Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank
Right
you so
on.
much.
Thanks, guys.
All
Thanks for
right.
listening.
See ya.
See you in the next
Annyeong.
episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed the clip. If you did, listen to the full episode on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
And make sure to subscribe to this channel, Dive Studios, and put those notifications on. Hit that bell.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.